Today, our guest is Dr. Judith Reisman, who is probably the country's authority on Alfred Kinsey, who's one of the big scientific frauds of all time. He absolutely misrepresented what sexual mores were like in this country, and he's had a tremendous influence on sex education. In fact, most of the people who teach sex education in the schools get their ideas and their strategies from the Kinsey Institute, which is still functioning in Indiana.
Phyllis Schlafly and her special guest here on Ego Forum Live are set to take more questions and comments at 800-736-3202. We go to Springfield, Missouri, listening to Bott Radio Network. Here's Julie.
Hi, Julie. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. Hey, I have a comment and a question regarding the sex education in the schools. There's another element to this, too, because you can be the most involved parent. And, when our son was in school, we wanted to opt out. And so we went to the school and asked them, what is the class? Let us see the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And, they lie to you.
I know. Shock.
They teach things that, it's a different curriculum than what they tell you,
mm-hmm.
and they don't want to pass it over. And they don't tell you when this is actually happening. So, you could be the most informed parent, and your kid is still going to be exposed to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, my next question is, okay, I have grandkids coming up through the system. What do we do? What can people do to get this changed?
Well, my answer, of course, Julie, always is that we have got to get some strong legal group to actually go into the courtroom and to prove to the American public through the courts, in the same way that it happened with big tobacco, that our children have been brutally damaged, that their parents were brutally damaged, that they were every one of their informed consent rights were violated because the children's brain is not capable of informed consent to the kind of stimuli that these people are delivering. And remember, Kinsey Institute is still a tax-funded institute. They're getting tax money from the state, from the feds.
Is it part of the University of Indiana?
Oh, yeah, of course they are. And so their salaries, everything else, is all paid for and so forth. And they've been doing the most outrageous kinds of so-called research there. And the head of the institute, Julia Hyman, actually moonlights part-time for a pornography outfit on the Internet called the Sinclair Institute. So these are people with massive conflicts of interest. They are a pansexual belief system that has percolated their belief system through every part of the United States of America.
Well, you're doing a good job of exposing it. I really have more faith in a congressional hearing that would spread it out all on the record. So I think we'll work on that. And I also understand that WorldNet Daily is going to have an expose of some of these subjects coming up soon. Did you hear that?
WorldNet Daily is definitely on it. Yes, indeed. I would tell everybody to look for that.
Let's see what Stephen has on mind, listening to Bott Radio Network in St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, Stephen. Welcome to the program.
Oh, I'm a truck driver heading for Texas. I have two questions for you. First off, my mother taught me about this when I was in the 7th grade in the early 50s, and she just wouldn't hear about all this other stuff with this Kinsey stuff. Anywho...
well, you had a smart mother.
Indeed.
Oh, she was a very strong individual. Anyway, you mentioned about using old-fashioned words.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious as to what old-fashioned words we were subjected to. My dad had the attitude that if I was old enough to ask, I was old enough to be told the truth. And
You're completely right. First of all, congratulations to both your dad and your mom. But the idea, what they claim was that people were telling children telling the parents that we needed to have sex education because parents said wee, instead of the formal language of phallus, that sort of thing. And of course, what we found was as soon as these guys got into place, they were using four-letter words. They were using vulgar and pornographic language for body parts, and certainly not scientific language. And so that was also a lie, but good for your parents.
You can call in and talk now at 1-800-736-3202. Let's see what Jenny has going in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, listening to BRN.
Hello, Jenny. Welcome.
Well, hello. Thank you so much, Ms. Schlafly and Dr. Reisman. I sure appreciate it. I had two questions. One is your website, drreisman.org or .com?
.com, but I think both work, actually.
Oh, really? Okay. And then you mentioned a flow chart that we could get.
Yeah, sure. Email me. My email address is on the website, and I'll send anybody that flow chart.
And what does the flow chart show?
Well, the flow chart identifies the entire structure with names and with dates of the way in which the scientific authority for the sex industrial complex, that's the Kinsey people, flowed out of the Kinsey Institute. It goes down through the funding from Playboy, the funding from Planned Parenthood, into the Kinsey Institute, into the creation of the field, the American Law Institute Model Penal Code in 1955. It's got the name of SSS, which was formed in 1957, the Society for the Scientific Study of Sex, because in 1957 they get formed to start accrediting only their people as sex educators. Nobody else is going to get through the gate. And goes through that, the pill that kicks in 1960s, but that's, remember, 1960s, Kinsey comes out in 1948. So he's talking about having sex with no downside. So there are all kinds of things that happen as a result, and it tells you which of the universities began, and from that, which of the accrediting organizations spun off, which was ASEC, the American Society of Sex Educators and Therapists in 67, the American Association of Marriage and Family Counselors in 77. So this is how the whole thing funnels through, and in 1971, the massive training for these people, which is all pornography, the sexual attitude restructuring, which are courses that teach erotic massage and self-massage, that sort of thing.
Well, do these sex educators in the public schools, do they trot on over to Indiana to get credentialed by the Kinsey Institute?
Well, some of them do, but for the most part, and by the way, this is public, private, and parochial. Some of them do, but mostly they'll go get their 3-unit training or 6-unit, additional training through the Institute for the Advanced Study of Human Sexuality in San Francisco. But that has spun off now into satellite groups all over the country and the universities everywhere. So now they can go to their local university and they can get their training there. But the training, when you track it, comes all the way back again to these key institutes and from there to the Kinsey frauds. And that's easily established in a court of law.
Feel free to join Phyllis's special guest, Dr. Judith Reisman, right now at 1-800-736-3202. Santa Fe, California, listening at egoforum.org. Phyllis, say hello to Roger.
Hello, Roger. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I'd like to know if anyone has tried to track down the subjects of the Kinsey experiments. That is the underage children who were subject of sexual experience.
Yes, indeed. As a matter of fact.
And if not, how do we know those experiments really took place?
Yeah, well, that was the first thing I asked, and I wrote back to the Kinsey Institute and asked them about that, and they claimed that they absolutely had taken place, and they claimed that homosexual males were doing that to children and that they got it from the parents and that sort of thing. But Yorkshire Television, the British documentary producers, major outfit in England, produced Kinsey's pedophiles, and in doing so, they located a number of people who were Kinsey victims, apparently one of them in particular who appears on the program with documentation. And in addition to that, they actually located a man in Germany, a Nazi pedophile who was a Gestapo member, who was corresponding with Kinsey and who is documented by Kinsey's own people as sending reports to Kinsey of the sexual assaults of children in which he had been engaged and encouraged by Kinsey. So this is an unbelievable scandal, as big as anything that just happened in Guatemala or Tuskegee.
Well, wasn't there some type of a program on television called what was 33 Children or something like that?
Oh, the Children of Table 34.
Yeah, yes, right.
Yes, absolutely. Good job there, Phyllis. Yeah. Family Research Council produced that, and it ought to be resurrected. I think I have one copy left. And in the Children of Table 34, they ask what happened to those children, and at that point they hadn't located the actual victim that's being quoted on the Yorkshire television production, but
now they have.
For more. Pardon?
But now they have located
them. Now they have,
them.
absolutely, yeah.
Feel free to call in and talk right now. If you've been trying to get through, now is a good opportunity at 1-800-736-3202. Again, 1-800-736-3202. You're listening to Dr. Judith Reisman along with Phyllis Schlafly on Ego Forum Live.